welcome back to the latest episode of An American in Thailand, airing every Friday. This program is broadcast to you from Ratchamakani University of Technology, Peranakan, and it will come to you in two parts. For the first part, I will introduce a certain topic about being an American here living in Thailand. Could be about food, travel, culture, lifestyle, politics, anything we want to talk about. We'll then take a break, and in the second part of the program, I'll get into more examples and specifics of whatever that topic is that we're discussing. All right, let's get to the program. Welcome everyone, my name is Gary Gray, and I am your host for An American in Thailand. I'm an American English teacher here at Ratchamakani University of Technology, Peranakan. And when I say I'm an American English teacher, I mean I'm from the United States. Sometimes in my program I will point out that some people get upset when people from the U.S. call themselves Americans. Because technically people from Canada, Mexico, all of South America, all of Central America, they're all Americans because they're all from the American continents. We don't mean to offend anyone. I know some people think we do because, Americans are viewed as being arrogant. So, yeah, we're taking all of America for ourselves. No, that's not why we use that term. No, we have no other name. We're not called United Staters. That's not a thing. Americans is what we're called. People from Canada are all called Canadians. And keep in mind, America is actually in our name for our country. It's the United States of America. So we mean no offense when we call ourselves Americans. And so, yes, I'm an American English teacher. When I say American, I mean from the U.S. I'm from the United States. All right, so today's episode, we're going to talk about sort of fusion cooking. That's the title I put on it. I don't know if it's really, with the example I'm going to give, I don't know that it's really fusion cooking in terms of the tastes. It's a little bit. Alter the taste a little bit. But it's more of the, shall we say, the style of the food. So what I'm going to go through with you here, and we've kind of done this a little bit in one of our previous episodes. I wanted to do it a little more detail here. Is we're going to talk about making Thai food in a more Western style. So that's kind of where the fusion comes in. It's more the fusion of the style, not a fusion of the flavors so much. There'll be a little bit of that I'll mention. A little bit. But I'm trying not to, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying not to alter the flavor too much. Because you may say, well, why do you even want to do that? Especially since we're airing this program in Thailand. The Thai food is great on its own. Why are you going to mess with that? We're really not. Well, we are, but not the flavor. Not the flavor. And you'll see what I mean when we go through it. There are going to be a couple of issues with flavor I will mention. Just a couple. But mostly, we're going to leave the flavor alone. So there's a few reasons why this might be interesting to you. For one, you might be cooking for Western friends. Who knows? There's plenty of Westerners here in Thailand. You might be cooking for Westerners, or you might own a restaurant. There's a lot of people that own restaurants here that speak a little bit of English, so maybe they want to watch this program to help them with their English. And if they're in certain parts of Thailand where there are a lot of tourists and foreigners, maybe they want to prepare their food in a little more Western style. Because again, we're not going to alter the flavor, so you don't have to worry about that. We're not going to ruin Thai food by making it American. No. We're going to change up the style a little bit, not the flavor. So you might be cooking for Western friends. That might be one thing. Or you may want to just try something in a more Western style. Who knows? There may actually be things that you like about it. I think one aspect of this is something that I think even a lot of Thai people could appreciate when we talk about this, when we go through this. There's going to be something in here that I suspect even most Thai people would like. And they'd say, yeah, that's a better way to do that. And like I said, I'm going to repeat again, we're not changing the flavor. maybe just a tiny bit, but mostly we're not going to change the flavor. Okay, so what are some of the differences that you might run into between Thai food and Western food? And again, we're going to focus mostly on style. The very first one is sort of related to flavor, but we're not really even going to talk about that when we give an example in the second half of the program. And I'll explain why. So the first issue is spice levels. Most Westerners prefer something a little less spicy. That's important to know. Like if you're cooking for Westerners, you may want to take the spice down a notch. But the reason we're not going to really address that in the example that we're going to give, a few reasons. First of all, some Westerners do like their food spicy. I like mine pretty spicy. Some stuff can get a little too spicy for me. I don't like papaya salad, at least not the way I've had it, prepared by my partner and his family. Ooh, too spicy. But the example we're going to talk about in this episode is tom yum. And rarely have I had a tom yum soup that's too spicy for me. I think I've had one or two that really push it. But generally, I like spicy food. So, you know, you don't have to adjust the spice level for Westerners. But also, adjusting the spice level is really simple. Just add more or add fewer peppers. Simple as that. So it's not a big deal. So whatever. So I'm not going to really... I do want to mention it, because it's an important difference. Most Westerners prefer something less spicy. But again, I said we're not going to touch the flavor. And there's not necessarily a need to with this one. Because some of us Westerners do like spicy food, number one. And number two, to adjust it is really easy. Okay, so the second one I think is more important. And this is going to get more into the style. And that's leaving the meat on the bone. That's pretty much always done here in Thailand. And in Western culture, we also do that with certain foods. You do that with ribs, perfectly fine. Well, we always serve ribs on the bone. Well, I shouldn't say always. You can get ribs off the bone, but the traditional way to eat ribs in America is on the bone. Same thing with wings. You can get boneless wings. You can get boneless wings here in Thailand as well. You can get boneless wings in America, but traditionally, chicken wings, are on the bone. Fried chicken, on the bone. That's the traditional way to eat them. So there's plenty of food, plenty of meats that we will also eat on the bone. But there are certain presentations, certain ways that they're served, where it's just no. Just absolutely not. Whereas here in Thailand, it's still always served that way. And I'll give you an example. Soup. Almost every time you order tom yum, for example, I'm using tom yum as the example because that's the example I'm going to give in the second half. It's also my favorite soup here in Thailand. You order tom yum gai, the chicken almost always has bones in it. It's not boneless chicken. I've been to one restaurant that serves it with boneless chicken. Tom yum goong, they leave the tail on the shrimp. Now, that is something they might do in America as well. That's a little more common. But the bone in the chicken, no. You don't serve soup with stuff in it that you have to handle with your hands, okay? So that's a no. All right, one of the only ones that does have to do, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more as well, because it goes further than just that, but it's related to eating with your hands. I should have put that one next, but I'm going to go in order that I wrote these out. So the third item I have on here, and this one is one of the few that are related to flavor, and that is fish sauce. There's no need to put it on everything. I always have found fish sauce on chicken wings, which is very common here, to be a very odd thing. Because sometimes, if there's too much there, you can actually taste the fishiness. Who wants their chicken to taste like fish? That seems like a weird thing. So that is something that a Westerner probably would not like. Fish sauce in certain things and in light enough amounts is fine. There's plenty of stuff I eat that has fish sauce in it. No big deal. Perfectly okay. All I'm saying is that for a Western taste, just back off the fish sauce a little bit. Don't put it on everything. Don't put it in large amounts. Just less fish sauce. Okay. All right. The fourth thing is that, and I mentioned this before, like stuff with picking stuff out of a soup. No. I'm not saying that Westerners don't eat with their hands at all, and I think that's where the difference comes in. In a lot of African countries and a lot of Asian countries, eating with your hands is pretty normal. In fact, my partner does it with vegetables, which I will use a fork to eat the vegetables. He just picks them off the plate and eats them like that. So this is more of a cultural difference, but this is one of these items where I think when I explain what we're going to do with the recipe I'm going to give you in part 2 for the example, I think you'll find that you might actually like this, even though you don't mind eating with your hands. It's actually going to be easier the way I'm going to tell you to prepare your soup. And again, I'm not saying that certainly I'm not going to say that the Western way of doing it is better. I mean, eating with your hands is fine. My partner doesn't have any problem with his vegetables. It's not like he's missing his mouth with them. It's fine. And Westerners certainly do eat certain foods with their hand. Some of those same foods I mentioned that have the bone in them. Because they have the bone in them, you kind of have to eat around the bone, and so it's much easier with your hand. So those very same foods I mentioned, ribs, chicken wings, fried chicken, almost everyone always eats them with their hands. Occasionally, if someone's at a nice dinner or something and they have fried chicken, they might cut that with a knife and fork. But it's only if they're trying to be very polite and very dainty, and 90% of the time, Westerners are just going to pick up fried chicken with their hands and eat it that way. All right, and then the last item, and this is really just to try to Westernize a Thai dish, and I wouldn't say to go crazy with this, because this is one of the other things that actually would change the flavor. And that is to get a little bit creative with the ingredients. Again, I would not say go crazy. You will see that the example I'm going to give you in the second half, all we're going to do is add one ingredient. It's a very common ingredient here in Thailand, in other things. It just doesn't usually go in what we're going to put it in. And it doesn't have a very strong flavor. I mean, you can taste it. It has a flavor. It's a pretty good flavor. And I think you would probably agree that it might go well in the dish that we're going to put it in. Because again, you do use it a lot. It's used in plenty of Thai dishes. It's very common. It's a very common ingredient here. It just doesn't usually go in this dish. Okay, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to it. So we'll get to that in the second half. But be a little bit creative and open-minded with your ingredients. There are ingredients you can use that may be kind of common to Westerners. Might make them feel a little bit more comfortable with the food you're serving them, and yet are still common here. There are plenty of ingredients that are common in both Western food and Asian food. Plenty of ingredients. Plenty. In fact, most of the ingredients that we use are similar. It's just very specific ones that create that difference. Like I was mentioning, fish sauce. Most people in America don't use fish sauce ever. In fact, I'm not even sure I've ever even knew what it was until I came to Thailand. It's just no. Maybe I knew before then, because I think they do use it in China as well. And my ex is Chinese. I've been to China many times. I've gone to a lot of Chinese restaurants in America, like authentic Chinese restaurants. I think they use it as well. So maybe I've known about it for a little bit longer, but still not until I was an adult. It's not a thing that most Westerners even use. But most ingredients are the same. Most ingredients. We use similar ingredients. All right. So in part 2, I'm going to give you an example of giving my Western version of what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the recipe I use for Tom Yum Gai. And again, don't worry. We're not going to ruin the wonderful Thai version. It's going to taste almost exactly the same. I say almost. There is one ingredient we're going to add. Again, it's not a big deal ingredient. It's just, I think it makes it a little bit better. The difference is mostly about the style. It's about the eating experience. I think I've given you my version of this on an older episode, but we didn't really focus on this one food item, which is what we're going to do here. All right, so in the second part, I'll give you that recipe. Let's take a quick break. Welcome back, everyone. All right, so we're talking about fusion cooking, and it's more fusion of style than flavor between Western and Thai. So we're going to take a Thai dish. As I mentioned in the first part, we're going to focus on Tom Yum Gai. It's my favorite soup here in Thailand. All of the Tom Yums are good. We're going to do this with the clear broth, just using a water base, or you can use chicken broth. That's maybe better, or just water with some of those cubes, those flavor cubes. We call those bouillon cubes. Put those in there. Regular chicken broth is probably better, or chicken stock even, but that's a little expensive and hard to come by here in Thailand. Of course, you can make it yourself too, but that takes a long time. So I'm just going to talk about it using a base of water, but obviously you maybe want a little more flavor than that. That's fine. That doesn't matter. So we're going to westernize Tom Yum Gai without really changing the flavor. So we're not going to ruin it. We're not going to Americanize your Tom Yum soup and make it terrible. No. The focus is on the style. We're going to change the eating experience of Tom Yum Gai. We're not going to change the ingredients or the flavors. There is one ingredient that I've seen as being kind of optional here in Thailand. We're definitely going to add that, but most people do add it. I've just seen it sometimes without that ingredient. We're definitely going to put that ingredient in. There's only one other ingredient we're going to add. It's not a big deal. Okay? So we're only altering the ingredients very slightly. Everything else is just classic Tom Yum. And like I said, we're going to do it with clear broth. So you're going to start with water, or like I said, chicken broth, whatever you have. Bring it up to a boil, and then let it simmer. Simmer means put on low heat. So it's not just boiling away and all of it evaporating. I mean, it will slowly evaporate. You may have to add some water over time, as you'll see what we're going to do here in this first step. So what you want to do with this first step, and this is where the big change is, the big difference. There's a couple of other changes along the way here that are different than the way a Thai person might prepare it, but this first step is really the biggest one. This is it. This is going to change the whole eating experience at the end. The very first thing you do here. So to that water, you're going to add in all of the ingredients that you don't normally actually eat. Most people do not eat the galangal. It's too tough, too hard to chew. Same thing with the lemongrass, too hard to chew. Most people don't eat that. Kaffir lime leaves, most people don't eat those. If they're made crispy, those are actually really good. I love crispy kaffir lime leaves. But usually within the Tom Yum soup, they're kind of, no. Most people don't actually eat those. Most people also don't eat the chili peppers. Some people do, but Thai chili peppers are quite hot. Most people don't eat them. They're there for flavor, but you don't eat them. So what you're going to do is you're going to put all of those in there. But before you put them in, make sure you cut them up a little bit to make sure you're releasing all the flavors. That's very important, and you'll see why. I'm also going to tell you to add twice what you normally would for the amount of soup you're making. Again, you're going to see why in just a second. So what you want to do is simmer that for a long time, like 2 hours. You may need to add a little bit more water as time goes on because some of it's going to evaporate away. So why in the world are we doing this? Why? You're going to let that stuff simmer on the pot for 2 hours? And it should be 2 hours minimum, honestly. Go longer if you can. Like if you have a slow cooker that you can leave on while you're at work, set it and go to work. And when you come home, it'll be ready. Here's why. And this is going to change everything with the eating experience. So now, after a good couple of hours, you're going to remove all those non-edible ingredients. Squeeze them out through a strainer. Put them in a strainer with another pan underneath it, perhaps. Well, whatever you can do to catch the juices from them. Try to squeeze them out, like press them down with something within the strainer. I have a really heavy-duty metal spoon that I use to press them down, just to try to get all the juices out and add the juices back into the broth. You're just trying to get all of the juice in there. And so you can see why I asked you to cut them up and use double the amount. Because what you're doing is you're getting all of that flavor into the water, into the broth. Now, you don't need to leave those in the soup. You have removed them. They are gone. But you still have all their flavors. All right? So you're going to get rid of those. Now you're going to add in your mushrooms, your onion, your tomatoes. That's the one thing that's kind of optional. That some people put in, some people don't. Add them. They're good. And there's a second reason why you want to make sure you add them. I'll talk about that at the end. The only bad thing about the way we're doing this, that helps offset that a little bit. And then here's the one extra ingredient I would recommend you add in. Either slice or dice some carrots. You don't need a lot. Just a little bit of carrot. Put in there. Okay? So you're going to let those cook up a little bit. And so again, there's no differences here really, right? The only difference so far is that we took the flavor out of the non-edibles, put it into the broth, and then we removed the non-edibles. And that's the huge difference. And it's really just about the only difference. The only other small difference is that when you add the chicken, which comes next, make it boneless. Boneless chicken. That's easy enough to find and buy. Boneless chicken. Don't leave the bones in there. Nobody wants that. Same thing is true with any other kind of tom yum you make. If you're making tom yum goong, take the tail off the shrimp. The shrimp, you should be able to just eat the shrimp. You shouldn't have to be putting your hands in your soup and doing stuff. No, you should be able to take the spoon, just eat it. So take the tail off the shrimp. If you're doing tom yum with pork, which I actually don't see that often, that can sometimes be a little harder because a lot of pork does have the bone in it, but there are still cuts of pork you can go buy at the store, which are not that expensive, which don't have bone in them. You'll have to cut it up yourself into pieces before you put it into the pot. Fine. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So use boneless meat, whatever meat you're using. Chicken, pork, shrimp, whatever you're using. Boneless. If you're making tom yum with fish, that might be a little harder. It's harder to find boneless fish. But even then, you can. It's harder to find, but you can. So go boneless with whatever meat you're using, boneless. Okay, and then once the chicken is all cooked up, add in the lime juice, cilantro, green onions. Of course, the cilantro and green onions should be chopped up. And that doesn't really need to cook long because those you don't want to fall apart. So you're basically done. That's it. So you can see it's really just tom yum gai. All we did was get rid of everything you're not going to eat. The galangal, lemongrass, chili peppers, kaffir lime leaves are all taken out. The bones from the meat, taken out. So this is just tom yum gai. We did add some carrots. Okay, that's it. And I know some people in Thailand don't add the tomatoes, but most people do. So that's not really a variation. I do think they're necessary for flavor and color. Plus, I like tomatoes, but some people don't like tomatoes. My partner doesn't really like tomatoes. So what you're doing to make this more a Western experience is really just how we eat it. You're not changing the flavor. Now, with doing it the way I've instructed you to do it, nothing needs to be picked out or picked through. You just grab your spoon and eat it. The only inconvenience is really the slight additional expense and time. Okay? The additional expense is that you need to add probably double of the ingredients you're going to remove in order to make sure you get all of that flavor in there into the broth. So you want to double that. They are very inexpensive though. Those ingredients are usually very inexpensive, but you want to double those ingredients, so there is a little more expense there. Because I've tried this just using the standard amount of those ingredients, it comes out way too weak. It's not spicy enough. There's not enough of that lemongrass flavor. There's not enough. You're just missing a lot of flavor if you just use the normal amount. So you want to double the amount of those ingredients you're going to use. But like I said, they're really pretty inexpensive. I mean, there's almost nothing that's expensive in Tom Yum. It's a pretty cheap meal to make. But the most expensive thing is probably the meat, right? And even that's not that expensive if you're just using chicken. But that probably is the most expensive thing. So really doubling those ingredients does not cost you that much more. So then there's the issue of the time. That's a little bit inconvenient because you have to start preparing it very early. But even that is only a minor inconvenience. Why? Because it's just simmering. You don't have to stand there and watch it for 2 hours. Put it on, go do something else. You probably don't want to leave your home in case something happens with some electrical problem or whatever, and because you got something plugged in there cooking. But you can go in the other room, do some other stuff, do some chores, play on your phone, play on your computer, do whatever you want to do. It's just simmering. Check it occasionally because you may need to add a little more water in there. But so it's a really minor inconvenience. The only way I could see it being a serious inconvenience is if you're doing this on a weekday for dinner and all the adults in your house are working all day. Well, by the time you get home from work, do you have 2 or 3 hours to wait around for this broth before you eat dinner? Yeah, you're going to be eating a pretty late dinner. That's really the only thing I can see that's really bad about that. But, it's soup. You can reheat it. So do it on the weekend or do it on a day off, whatever. So it's pretty easy. Or if you have a slow cooker, like I said, you can get it set up in the morning, head off to work, and then when you come home, it's done. Although, again, I'm not sure you want to leave an electrical appliance running all day long like that. But we do it in America. Everyone does that in America with a slow cooker. It's kind of the point of the slow cooker, right? You're gone all day. It's doing the thing for you. All right. So that really added time and added cost is a really minor inconvenience. And I honestly think that the improved experience is even something that Thai people would like. I mean, do you like having to take the chicken out of the soup and have to gnaw around the bones of it? Who likes to do that? Plus, you've now removed the chicken from the soup. It goes together. You're supposed to be eating the chicken with the mushroom and the tomato and the onion and the broth. It all goes together. You're not supposed to take the meat out and eat it separately. That's not how soup works. No. So I think this eating experience is even something that Thai people would appreciate. I think Thai people would prefer this way. Maybe not. Maybe not everyone. Maybe you think that taking the meat out and eating it separately is fine because, some of the broth has gotten in there and it's still got some of the flavor, so it's fine. So maybe you don't. Maybe you prefer it the way it's traditionally done here in Thailand. But I think even a lot of Thai people would prefer this method. The only real negative I can tell you is the presentation. The lime leaves and the red chili peppers add a lot of nice green and red color to the soup. And so you lose that. You lose that because you've removed those items, those non-edibles. You've removed them at the beginning. So it does make the presentation, it's less pretty. It looks a little bit more boring. That's why we need to make sure we add the tomatoes. We get some of that red back in. And the carrots also help because they're going to give a little bit of orange color in there as well. That's one other reason to add some carrots. And that's the only thing that's really going to change the flavor from traditional Tom Yum. And really, it's just carrots. It's just carrots. It's not that big of a deal. The only other thing I would say is be generous with your cilantro and green onions if you like them. Some people hate cilantro, but if you like them, be generous with your cilantro and green onions to help add some more of that green color back in because you're missing the kaffir lime leaves. So get a little bit more of that green color back in there. All right, so that is how I prepare my Tom Yum Gai. And that is kind of a fusion of Thai and Western. And as I said, it's more of a fusion of style, not a fusion of flavor. We're pretty much sticking exactly to the Thai flavor. Like I said, we did add some carrots. Okay, big deal. Carrots. Carrots go good in soup. Westerners like that. Most of our soups, chicken soup and everything like that, has carrots in it. Some people will even put diced up carrots in things like clam chowder, which that one's a little weird, a little bit. But even that's not too weird. We like carrots in our soup. So put a little carrot in there. But that's the only thing we've done to change any of the flavors. So we're not, when I say fusion, what I'm talking about is presenting a Thai dish in a way that a Westerner would prefer to eat it. A Westerner does not want to have to go digging through, not eating can't eat the galangal, can't eat the pepper, can't eat the kaffir lime leaves, can't eat the lemongrass. Oh, the chicken or the meat has bones in it, blah, blah, blah. You serve a Westerner soup, they just want to stick their spoon in and eat the whole thing up until the bowl is empty. And that's how you want to serve this. So that is my recipe for how you do that successfully. All right, so there you have it. Fusion between Thai and Western cooking. And again, more of a fusion of style than a fusion of taste. All right, thank you for joining us for today's episode of An American in Thailand. Any young people out there who are looking to head off to university in the next year or two, please consider our university, Ratchamakon, University of Technology, Peranakan. Okay, please stay with us and tune back in next week for another interesting episode. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.